All right, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, here we go again. Beers and birds, you muppets.
Beer, 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 tiddly beer, beer, beer. A long time ago, way back in history, when all there was to drink was nothing but cups of tea. Along came a man by the name of Charlie Mott, and he invented a wonderful drink and he made it out hot. Lord bless Charlie Mott, the man who invented beer, 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 tiddly beer, beer, beer.
Top of the morning to you, Muppets. You've stumbled upon a Jammers packed beer session pod today. I'm Mike here with the usual boyos, Brad and Rob.
Hello.
Hello.
We've dug into our pot of gold for this brew, which you can follow along with the Untapped app or beersandbirds.com. You can also rate us on iTunes, which, judging by our Jack's response, I know some of you haven't done it yet. So don't be a wanker and give us a quick 5-clover rating. First, today we give a quick Shamrock-style history lesson. Then we learn you's up on the whole shebang of the brew today, which is the Guinness 200th Anniversary Export Stout, ladies and gents. I'm so excited it's got me a bit stiff in the shillelagh. Now enough gabbing from me. Hey Rob, do you know what happened this past weekend?
Was it St. Patrick's Day?
I believe it was.
All right.
It's a nice little change up for you guys.
Well,
I think Emmett just had a heart attack next door.
I think he did, man.
Yeah, he will not like
It's like
that.
Emmett. It's like Emmett and one of the Beatles had a baby right there.
Oh,
dude.
yeah. I
It's
thought it was Emmett. Yeah.
like a little Liverpool in there.
It was a little bit, wasn't it?
little Liverpool, and it's all right though. I liked it. You know what else would have liked it? St. Patrick, because he liked a lot of things. And you're probably wondering, who is this St. Patrick character? Why are we having a day for St. Patrick?
I don't know who this dude is.
Many years ago.
Many years ago, way back in history. Patrick was a 5th century Romano-born British Christian missionary and a bishop in Ireland. What we know about him, apparently he wrote about himself in the Declaration, so you got to take it as such, hopefully. The Patrick himself was an honest man, and what he wrote is correct. And what we know about him, that he was born in the Roman Britain. He was still Roman at the time, in the 4th century, into a wealthy Roman British family. His father was a deacon in the early church, and as with his grandfather. And apparently at the age of 16, he made his first trip to Ireland as a slave kidnapped by Irish raiders. He spent 6 years there working as a shepherd, and then somehow, during that time, he found God. Somehow he made his way back, and then he became clergy, and then he said he would go back to Ireland, and he was going to convert all the pagans that had kidnapped him.
Full of pagans.
He was going to show him the way of God.
It's always the pagans'
That's like
fault.
shooting fish in a barrel
That's right,
over there,
so-
I'm sure.
Always the pagans' fault.
That's right. So he went there, and he taught all the pagans how to be fine, good Christians. And then his efforts against the Druids were eventually turned into an allegory in which he drove snakes, but basically it was him just getting all the Druids out, like that ancient Gaelic sort of religion.
yeah.
Those were the snakes, so they said, time for you to go. And then St. Patrick died on March 17th. He's buried down at Downpatrick, and so that is why on the day of his death is when they celebrate St. Patrick.
Oh, because he was that cool of a dude.
He was that because he brought Christianity to Ireland and apparently drove away the snakes, which I guess meant the Druids or other religion. But there's a couple interesting things about, like, how did St. Patrick's Day become like our sort of modern St. Patrick's? Because that was, obviously centuries ago.
Slightly Americanized.
Well, maybe it's a little Irishized, but probably Angloized. Probably the Brits got in there, so they do. So, but apparently one of the reasons the St. Patrick's Day took off is because Ireland is a very Catholic country, and then. But St. Patrick's Day during the holiday, they would let you get out of the Lenten restrictions, the restrictions of Lent. You were allowed to get out for St. Patrick's Day. Hence, it's why it sort of became the tradition of like alcohol indulgence and getting nuts.
Get crazy.
Okay, because you haven't.
And also because then you were back on the wagon till Easter.
Yeah.
Or till, I guess, Good Friday at least, right?
Whenever the Lent
or Fat
things
Tuesday,
are.
yeah.
Fat Tuesday sounds like something.
We're not good Catholics here. In fact, none of us are Catholic. Are any of us Irish? Like, I'm part Irish, but I'm pretty sure it's Scotch-Irish.
I'm European mutt. I'm not sure.
Really,
Maybe.
like
Same.
Rainy. My
No
dad's
idea.
mother's
Austrian,
people were Rainies,
German,
and they came from Ireland.
English.
There's a good chance they were Scotch-Irish, though.
Okay.
Like, they came from Scotland, settled in Ireland, then they left Ireland and came here. That's a Scotch-Irish dude. So, depending on how long in Ireland those Scottish people stayed, they might have hooked up with some real Irish folk over there, but, they're not. I don't think they're considered true Irish, but those are my Irish roots as far as I know. So then, of course, why is the shamrock a symbol? That's another big thing about St. Paddy's Day. And they think one of the main reasons is that St. Patrick used the shamrock, which was already big in like pagan cultures, because apparently it symbolized 3 gods and might have had other. They 3 deities was a big thing in pagan culture. For them.
Okay.
And so he also used it to teach the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and the shamrocks, which are pretty ubiquitous already in their cultures and customs.
I thought they were just drinking them shakes.
Speaking of drinking shamrocks, as you bring up the shamrocks, one of the traditions then became, like during St. Patrick's Day, is drowning the shamrock or wetting the shamrock. And basically at the end of the celebration, your last drinks of the evening, I guess, a shamrock is put in the bottom of a cup, and then it's filled with either whiskey, beer, or cider, and then it's drunk as a toast to St. Patrick or Ireland or those present, or a combination of all those. And then the shamrock would either be swallowed with the drink or taken out and tossed over their shoulder for good luck. So that's another big reason the shamrock is heavily involved in St. Patrick's Day.
Cool.
That's interesting.
I really should have had me some Lucky Charms this
You really
morning.
should have, man. They strained you out.
You did have the Shamrock Shake, though.
Yeah, I did have that though.
Well, that's
I got
close
one
enough.
in.
It's probably about as much sugar in both, so you're good to go. And then one of the last little tidbits I'm gonna educate you on is the why everybody wears green. It's kind of a weird one. I thought this was a weird story. The first association they can come up with is like when in Ireland, this 11th century, there was a pseudo-historical book. I don't even know how to pronounce this in Gaelic, so I'm just not even going to try. It is the book of the Taking of Ireland, which was sort of part of this mythological cycle in Irish mythology. And one of them, one of the gentlemen is it is a Celtic name that I'm going to
Glass.
Godel Glass. We're going to go with that, man. And so basically, he was out in the woods, and then he was attacked.
It's not a goidel.
It's not a Gordel. No, it's a Celt. It's a Celt that was saved by Moses himself. How did he get to Ireland? I don't know. I guess that's where the mythological cycle comes in, because I don't know how Moses got to Ireland, but he did. And he put his staff over the snake, stopping him from getting bit by the snake.
Back to
Moses
snakes.
always has his staff, doesn't he?
Yeah, Moses on our staff. And then
He's like Donatello with that thing.
and then Mike,
Or
what did
Gandalf, I imagine.
you? Or Gandalf.
yes.
He's the original White Wizard, no doubt.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
or is he a Gray Wizard? I don't know. I forget the nomenclature there. So, Mike, how did you say that guy's name? Godel Glass?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So so when Godel Glass was appreciative, he would retain a green mark that would stay with him. That would lead. He would lead his people that would be free of Ireland and snakes. So so he somehow got a weird green mark when Moses came and saved him from a snake. So that's another reason green's a big color.
So
there.
all cultures pretty much agree snakes are the bad guys.
Pretty much. I mean, well, they bite you and give you poison, man. It's
Yeah.
not, you know.
And they don't even have legs.
I mean,
Weird.
especially in a Christian society, like, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
people been hating snakes a while. That's back in the literature, man. Snakes are the one that got us all in trouble to begin with.
So
Given that
practical application. So today it's like the halftime of Lent between the start and Easter.
Yeah,
That's their day to get a little crazy. It's like
Yep.
a short room springer.
exactly. It's an Irish Rumspringer.
There we go.
Get a little crazy for a day.
And we all know what they like to. I mean, what is the traditional drink for this craziness is the beer we're going to be talking about today is the Guinness.
Guinness, yeah. Many years ago, after the tradition of St. Paddy's Day had been passed down, but still over, what is that, 270
200
years ago?
years.
Yeah, 1752.
270 years ago, kind of Guinness's godfather, Arthur Price, the Church of Ireland Archbishop of Cashel, bequeathed him 100 pounds in his will.
Oh, great
That's
use
big
of
money in
bequeath.
1752.
Yeah, apparently it's enough to open a brewery.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's brewery money in
100
1752.
it won't quite get you as much these days, but back then it bought you a brewery, and he negotiated great terms because it was a 9,000-year lease. So long after
Holy
he
crap.
expired, he's like, oh, what? I'm paying
So we still got over 8,000 years on this lease.
an eighth of a pound a year for 9,000 years. Or,
Wow.
I think actually they bought it by now. I think the Guinness company at some point actually bought the entire property out.
Oh, that
But
would
yes,
make
it's still
sense.
a badass lease.
Good work, sir.
Good.
Not only did you make
who agreed to that? Like 9,000 years, 45 pounds a year. And the guy was like, "Yeah."
how much do you want to pay a month? Have I got terms for
I
you?
mean,
What's this inflation? I've never heard of that.
If you think about it, though, if 100 pounds got him damn near a brewery, and then he's like, "I'm going to give you 45 pounds," I mean, that's damn near half of 100 pounds that you bought him.
Oh yeah, he's balling.
Yeah, that guy was probably like, "Yeah, 45 pounds, you're crazy." 9,000 years, this shit's not going to make it 3.
So the dark beer porter started in 1778.
Yeah, I think he brewed ales before then.
Was that what it was
Yeah,
beforehand?
he was brewing ales.
Ales are the easier ones, right? Or they're the ones like as you first start getting in.
Yeah, that's your entry level.
Yeah. Okay.
So Arthur Guinness, just like us, this is brewing. He's like home brewing on just a bigger stage.
Yeah. Maybe he lived there. Maybe he was homebrewing.
So he got into a porter in 1778. But when did the stout start?
Let's say the 1840s.
Sounds about right. We're going with that.
Yeah, I like it.
That's definitely right.
So although it has this dark color, it has overall light, especially for the style these days, stout.
Right. From that barley.
Yeah.
That roasted barley that they do. Yeah.
And, the fact they put it on nitro, a little bit different when it comes out of the bottle.
And they even do that in the cans and shit, too.
And when they started doing that, in the
50s, I think.
the 50s? Yep, they went from the cask, and I think they
the
said
wooden casks.
They said that's
Yep.
one of the reasons they kept the pour up is because that's how you used to do with a conditioned cask. You'd pour it and let it settle, and because it would they drink them so fast. Like you're supposed to let a conditioned cask settle in general, but they were serving them so fast because they just couldn't keep up with the demand. So they'd sort of like save one to sort of like to have the frothy bit when they first did it, and then they top it off with the older stuff to sort of after it's settled. So they had to let it settle, otherwise it was just like too frothed.
Okay. Iron lungs, they called them.
Yeah, that's when they started taking them out of the wood and putting them in the metal and putting the nitrogen in them.
Yeah,
Yep, 59.
I have to give credit to Michael Ash, a mathematician turned brewer, discovered the mechanism to
Who
put
doesn't
nitro.
want to do that? Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, doing equations all day, that gets a little old. Why not do something for the greater good and make beer better?
That is the greater good. Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely. And
He's
then
putting smiles on faces for generations.
And then Guinness has that weird recipe where it has that sort of like it's got the, I think it was the first time anybody's really messing with the roasted barley, and then they gave it like lactate acid in there to give it like a tang to it, and that comes from it used to come from like it would come from like old beer. They'd brew some old beer in with the new beer to give it that sort of flavor, and now their mum is whether they still do that or not. They're like, do you guys still do that? And they're like, I'm not gonna tell you.
Like a perpetual like soup that like a older woman would make. It's just like constantly going in whatever's going in the. Maybe it's not soup's not the best term, but you know what I'm saying.
I do, yeah. They sort of have a batch, or I don't know if they just take the last batch and stick it in the next one.
Perpetual gruel.
But yeah, it definitely came out that interesting flavor that just sort of, because that's what they sell more than anything. I think it's the most popular drink in Ireland still.
I believe that.
Draft, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a good product. I mean, we even, with the craft brew evolution, some of us debate whether beers that were good 20 years ago are still good today, but yeah, this one seems to pass the test still.
Oh, I love Guinness. I mean, it's also a beer just made for me. You know what I mean? It's basically because it's 4.2% alcohol, so it's a baby beer essentially, and it's it's a stout, so it's a nice dark like malty taste. It's got a great taste to it. I still think it
great
does.
flavor. Yeah.
So it's a session stout, which there's far too few of. Now they're all like Dragon's Tooth, which is like 9% and shit.
Yeah.
Supposed to have one that won't kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think the thing with this, it pours and it looks like a dark, heavy beer, but it's actually light in taste and flavor. And
it is, and you can just crush them.
Yeah.
And they're only 4.2, so you can drink them a lot.
Right. And it's always fun when you're over there to have them, pour in house and Irish.
Oh yeah, and they write in the foam.
I bet that would be fun.
It is, yeah.
It just adds to the ambiance of the situation, but
and it's so old. I mean, they've been making beer there forever, and it's it's spread everywhere. I guess it's spread with the Irish though, because when the Irish diaspora, when like all the first the famine, then the troubles, the Irish have been bailing out of Ireland for a while. Yeah. I think at one point there was more in Boston than Ireland, like in the late 1800s.
Yeah, that that severely affected their entire population, and still hasn't recovered to this day.
Yeah. So and they brought Guinness with them, so their taste for it. So it also spread the beer around, I imagine, just because all the Irish folks went out there too.
Naturally, yeah.
wasn't
And then
one of the warring factions in the Gangs of New York intro an Irish Catholic group?
The Dead Rabbits
the other day.
Yeah, the Dead Rabbits, man. I love that. I love that movie.
That was a great flick.
It really was.
That's right.
I'm sure they pounded Guinness.
They pounded, they're pounding probably some nice,
Pound some face.
some stouts
That
brewed.
guy had that big staff. What was it?
Oh, the
religious
club.
symbol, but it was his weapon.
Oh yeah, the preacher.
Yeah.
Or
It
priest.
was like
He
a
was
big
priest.
cross.
It was,
but it was fancy or
Leonardo's
something.
dad,
He was
wasn't
Leonardo's dad.
It was
yeah.
Leo's dad.
He was the leader that Bill the Butcher killed.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then he did like the
respect.
ceremony for him all the time. He killed the last good man in the 5 points.
Yeah.
That's right. He took his eye.
He did.
like that,
gave him the greatest beating of his life. I love
Yes.
that movie.
Uh-huh.
It is a great movie. It is a great movie.
So I imagine they were drinking some sort of form of Guinness. They were definitely there. It's definitely possible.
We could just do a Gangs of New York
Although
podcast. I guess.
we could. The first actual Guinness though that was shipped here was what? That would be 1817, and that's why this is a 200-year-old anniversary export stout because it's celebrating the 200 years they've been shipping it to America.
Right.
Okay.
Now this
So-
one,
So this is not your average Guinness. We do love the
No,
Guinness
they-
draft here.
they changed up the recipe.
They did. This was from the. This apparently was supposedly taken from the recipe they actually did. Like the recipe that was on hand when they sent the first batch. This is that recipe.
Yeah,
Like
from Benjamin Guinness.
from Benjamin Guinness, and they were
In
looking through the books and the
1817.
logs to make this thing. That they went back through the old recipes and manuscripts to figure out how to make this. So
You can check out a video on their website. You can see the book, and it's super old, and she's handling it with gloves.
yeah, like
All right.
so.
But I'm really interested to see if this is like going back to the Atari 2600 and playing the old games today and being like, okay, this was cool 20 years ago, but it's not cool.
But I mean, I don't think we've never had this. I've never had this one. That's the
But we
thing.
can probably tell if it's a more
Yeah.
basic, archaic beer.
Yeah. So
Brad's officially calling this the Cubert of
beers,
beers.
Hubert of beers, man.
All right,
right,
I'm going to
so let's
open
crack
this
this
sucker.
thing.
Yeah. Did you just find this at the store? Or how'd you get timing wise?
I went to go get Guinness because it was St. Patrick's Day, and I was like, well, maybe we'll do a couple different Irish beers or something. I was looking for
Okay.
Murphy's actually, and then I saw this sitting up there. It was like 6-pack of it, and I went, oh, hello. I never had you, and then I was like, well, we'll do this guy. I've never seen it, so
Just polishing off my Killian's for Irish Red right now.
right.
That's straight out of Ireland.
yeah, that's as authentic as your accent.
I figure I'd be better at it listening to Emmett.
It's trickier than you think, right?
It is. Yeah, you're the accent guy.
That is dark. Although officially
thick.
it's not brown. It's ruby red. It's another.
Well, no light can get through it hardly.
yeah,
so.
if you shove it all the way up there, you can see the red. Like if you shove it right to the light, you can sort of see it's red. It's really. So how's it smelling?
A brown red.
Yeah, that's a thick head.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have that creamy. It's not that nitro head
Oh,
that
it's
you
not
get from
nitro.
again. Yeah, it's
Oh, the bottle's not nitro?
no. Well, nitro didn't come out till the 1950s.
Oh, that's right.
yeah. So this
of
is the
course.
1817 brew right here, buddy.
This is the
I like
archaic
it.
One.
That's
Yeah.
why it's 6. It's also 6% alcohol. So
Yep, you got your.
Rob's going to bed 5 minutes earlier tonight.
That's right.
6%er.
Oh wow, that's incredibly unexpected. I like it. It doesn't.
Oh, the smell is great.
It's got a Guinness finish though, doesn't it? Like the taste immediately doesn't strike me as Guinness, but the finish is very Guinnessy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Yeah, it is weird to see it not.
the carbonation's throwing me off the most.
It is.
It is because it's very flattish. You know, it's almost.
It's flat.
It's almost
but
cask.
but it's a harder carbonation. Like when you do get
Right,
the carbonation,
you're
it's
right.
the hard bubble there, and not like the smooth, creamy nitro finish.
Oh.
It's a little bit harsher. Not in a bad way.
No,
I think
it's just
good.
different.
It's unique. Yeah.
No, it's absolutely different. Well, here is. Would you like to hear the description as the Guinness people?
Yeah, go for it.
Guinness history changed forever in 1817. In that year, Benjamin Guinness, Arthur's son, brewed our first beer with the new roasted grain called Black Patent Malt. Oh, so that's the other thing. I guess this is where they started that bit.
Oh, okay.
His stout recipe laid the foundation of how we would brew for the next 200 years. That's the same year Benjamin brewed his lovely dark beer. We shipped the first barrels of Guinness to America. To this day, America's favorite stouts are still brewed at St. James Gate. Based on the Guinness brewing logs of 1817, Guinness 200th anniversary export stout seeks to bring to life the same dark ruby red color and complex flavor of Benjamin's beer from 200 years ago. Rich and full body with notes of caramel, toffee, sweet chocolate, smooth drinking with just the right amount of bitterness. Guinness 200th anniversary export stout carries on the legacy of 1817 and looks forward to our next 200 years in America. So there you go. So it's got some toffee, caramel. I get some of that. Sweet chocolate. I guess there is. Now,
Yeah. I mean, It seems maybe
I
it's
get
the
the caramel.
malts or whatever it was is like bordering on burnt. Like it's roasted.
Yeah, definitely. I like that roasted taste. That's one of the things I always liked about that. Really,
That's how you get.
roasted
Yeah,
malt,
that's how they get that smell.
So I guess this is the proto to the Guinness draft as we know it now.
Man,
Okay, maybe you're not liking it. What do you think? No, I'm just curious.
I like it.
I enjoy it.
It is. I was expecting creamy until you said that, though.
Right. It's not like drinking Guinness.
But I almost do want to grade it on a curve, just by like how this might not be a 10-star right now, but 200 years ago that would have been off the charts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think about that, if you think of the piss water they're probably drinking,
Right.
like it tastes kind of. I don't know. It's like you're drinking a beer museum kind of. That's kind of interesting. That this is the recipe that they. I mean, if this is actually what they're
This is
saying,
like as close as they could replicate.
right?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Now, obviously, it's a recipe perfected with today's technology and everything like
Right.
that.
True.
So, when they're making with stream water down from Uncle Fester's farm, and there's cow patties floating in there, perhaps it doesn't taste the same.
And they're-
200
That's how you
years
get the
ago.
flavor.
And their measurements, so they have like Jim with the large fist. He's the guy that throws in the hops. Well, how many hops are there in Jim's
3
fistful?
handful, yes.
But it has to be Jim's hand. Jim has the large hand, but not too large like Eddie's.
And only his left.
yeah, only his left.
Yeah, so I got to imagine taking a great recipe and then making it with advantages of today.
Right.
Probably make it even better.
Oh, absolutely. That's a pretty
I
good
like
beer,
how
though.
that's got a strong body to
Oh,
it,
did we,
though. It finishes clean.
Did we look up the ratings?
Oh, we did.
Oh.
Oh, good.
Oh, we did. Oh, we.
Okay.
Just a hint.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. Don't you worry.
Like I love the color.
It's a great color. It's a great body, too. It's like.
You can legit see some red in there when you hold it up to the light.
Oh, and that's the crazy thing, too. Availability. Brewed once.
That's it. Yeah, this is the
One
only.
and done.
Wow.
And this is technically like. This was brewed in 2017, so this is about a year old then.
Yeah.
So. And it's still. Yeah. So. That's interesting. Limited. This is it. This is their anniversary beer. Mm-hmm. So unless they get everybody loves it so much that they. I guess that's what they did. I guess they had this stuff and they just kept it in the back till St. Patty's Day and threw it out on the shelves. And
Yeah.
God bless them for it.
Yeah.
What's up, Penfield Beverage? Thanks, Sean.
Beer advocates.
All right.
I've always had good things there. That's
Yeah.
where I got the one Game of Thrones beer.
Oh yeah.
Like I just happened to see by the register.
That's right.
they've
Fans of the podcast, Hempfield Beverage. If you're in the Landisville area, that's where you need to be buying your beer.
That's right.
You'll once in a while you'll walk in and find little treats like this. 200th anniversary import stout. So
They
What
take
about
care of you.
Rapier?
They got. That's where I got that koozie from. They hooked me up with a koozie one time.
they're good folk.
They are good folk.
So we like it. Well, so did we rate? Or are we going to rate it after we?
Let's rate it at the end.
We'll rate at the end. All right. So Beer Advocate. What did the folks Beer Advocate? They gave it an exceptional rating of 4.03 out of 5, which is actually pretty good for Beer Advocate.
Yeah, it's hard to get above 4, the beer advocate.
Yeah.
As
So
it should
Yeah,
be.
they are some stringy muppets.
That'd be the equivalent of our friends at Rapier giving an 80 out of 100, which is every beer every tested.
Bud Light Lime. I'll
I
still
think
give
there
it a
were two. There was
72.
one
Bud
they
Light
gave
Lime's got like a
something was
12.
9,
Yeah, Bud Light
something
Lime,
was a
yeah.
2. Yeah, there were a couple things that
Because
were
they couldn't
under,
even pretend. They're like, we're really going to be
They
a beer
just
website.
jump the shark one way or the other every time.
Like if you're a homebrew, they'll be nice to you, man. You try them out with some of those, domestics, they're just going to shit on you. So what did our friends at Rapier give it? Our friends at Rapier gave it a 92 out of 100, which is that's pretty still.
Okay.
That's about what I'd give it. I mean,
Yeah, that's a.
so the style is foreign stout or export stout. Is that because because export they always make it a little higher alcohol for the trip?
Never heard of a
Yeah.
foreign stout. Is that what they do? Is that
That's
legit?
why. That's why.
He gave numbers earlier, and
Yeah.
there was one version of Guinness that had 8 different percentages depending on where it was being sent to. Like Malaysia had a 7.5.
What?
US had an 8. Yeah, it was some kind of.
If
the
you
Guinness
said it, I wasn't
Extra or
listening.
The Guinness, yeah.
I'm glad. We didn't say anything cool. Yeah, Guinness Foreign Extra Stout is 7.5 ABV version sold in Europe, Africa, and the Caribbean. The basis is an unfermented but hopped Guinness wort extract shipped from Dublin, which is added to local ingredients and fermented locally. So the strength varies depending on what
and
they
it was
put in.
5% in China, 7.5% in Europe and the Caribbean. So I mean, It is kind of strange that you may taste one in China that tastes different than the one you get in Jamaica.
That is weird.
And it does. Yeah. I think the ones in Ireland taste a bit like. Did you think that? I mean, because they always say that if you drink Guinness on tap, not necessarily this Guinness, but Guinness Draft on tap in Ireland tastes different. Did you find that?
I did, but I think I talked myf into that.
I wanted that
I was
too.
On vacation and
correct.
I wanted
and
it.
you're in Ireland, and you're like, it's so much frothier and creamier.
Right. I don't know. I don't know if that was me or if it was actually true. So I did feel that way.
I did too. Yeah. Although isn't a lot of the export style like I don't know Indian Pale Ale is that way. Like Indian Pale Ale became Indian Pale Ale because it was the pale ale they shipped when they were in England. They made it in England and shipped it out to India when the British were during the British Empire
occupying.
And then they put more alcohol in it because then it preserves better.
Yeah.
So it makes the trip. And then when it got there, it was supposed to be watered down for the troops. So basically, they gave the troops watered down, but the officers just drank it straight. So that's how it became its own style.
The troops got a session. And,
Correct. And the officers drank it at 8.
Yeah.
That is the story of Indian Pale Ale. So I imagine export's probably the same. They just make it a higher alcohol to get it out.
I'd buy that.
Yeah. And then it just became the tradition because I guess bars don't water them down anymore. It's not like, hey, we got that export stout in. All right, bust out the gallons. And all these people getting crazy. So
yeah, 4.03 and a 92 out of 100.
Yeah,
pretty good ratings
for a 6%. Yeah, it's a different beer. It's different than Guinness. Like I love Guinness Stout. I do, but this is not that.
The carbonation is not the only thing different.
The taste is very different. It's much more.
I couldn't believe it.
For being more basic, it's more complex.
I think it's caramelly.
It is more
sweet, a little bit more so than
the flavor profile is very different.
Yeah,
it is. It's got kind of wine feel at the end.
If I could combine normal Guinness's mouthfeel and like smoothness with the flavor of this one,
maybe
that would be an awesome beer.
Maybe that's a good suggestion to make. Maybe you could take this and.
We know that they've had several varieties. Did y'all take a look at the varieties of Guinness that have existed over the years here?
Yeah, there was a blonde.
There's the blonde still around.
I remember the American blonde.
There was a Brew 39 that was sold in Dublin from late 2005 to early 2006. Only there. And only for that time.
That's very successful. Late 2005 to early 2006.
It was somewhat closer to a Beamish Stout.
What's that, like a month?
The Toucan Brew was introduced in 2006. It was named after the cartoon toucan that was in all the advertisements back in the day. This had a crisper taste.
I've seen them on the walls.
Slightly sweet aftertaste. Apparently that didn't make it. North Star was introduced in 2006. I've never heard of that either.
A wheat beer.
Oh yeah, they had a bunch of weird ones.
Breo.
Yeah, the Bright. I don't know what's going on there. The Guinness Bright Lager. I've never even heard of these. Bright Ale. These are all defunct, so you can't.
Now we're just making shit up.
The wheat beer.
Somebody did. Well, I mean, hell, they've been around so long. You know, they threw some shit at the wall over the years, right? So Guinness Cream Stout. There you go, Mike. Maybe that was your stout. You just don't know.
Maybe.
Just lost to history. Mike's favorite beer.
I'm never gonna. Maybe I'll eBay.
You
that.
like Jenny Cream Ale?
No, actually, I hate
This
it.
is a cream stout, Brad. A Guinness Pilsner. That must have been interesting. A Guinness Breo, a slightly citrusy wheat beer. Is that what you're talking about, Brad?
Yep.
A Guinness Shandy. So there you go.
Ooh,
and a
now
Guinness,
we're talking.
And a Guinness Special Lake because that's
perfect.
All right.
Yeah. So those are all
crazy.
Those are all the different. Only some of the different versions of Guinness beers that they've made over the years. So Guinness. I mean, I guess because we don't get it around here as much. But it looks like they got brewers always playing around over there too, like they do here.
What else are you gonna do? You're gonna change up and make different stuff.
That's right. And Guinness Blonde is brewed in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. So there you go.
What if those tanks are glass lined?
Using a combination of Guinness yeast. I guess Guinness has its own yeast then, doesn't it? I guess it has its own specific yeast that is Guinness yeast.
You can reuse yeast.
I imagine I guess they have their...
We were over there and they say they use about 7 generations before they kind of
get
out of it.
Dogfish Head does about the same.
Really?
7,
okay.
Yeah.
So
except for the 120 minute, which they do only use once.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
We can charge as much as they can for a case. So. 120 minutes isn't cheap.
No. Not at all. You buy that in singles. All right, so we good to rate this? I think I'm ready to rate this.
So now that we know what the rate beer was, sorry, let's just go back right quick. So rate beer gave it a what? You gave it a 4.3,
4.03.
4.03 out of 5, and that was Beer Advocate. Rapier gave it a 92 out of 100. So I'm going to give it. I actually like this a lot more than I thought. I'm going to give this a 4.7, man.
Damn.
I like it a lot.
4.75, huh?
Ooh.
4.75, and I don't even like 6% that much, but this is just a nice beer. I'm also, I think, just like I may never have it again if that other than the ones in that 6-pack, yeah.
Oh, I left some in the bottle and then just poured the rest in. Now I got some head again.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely an old school like stout porter head too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's that like brown sort of low foamy head. Yeah.
Oh, and you can chew it. Mm-hmm. All right, I was gonna go 4. I'm now going 4.25.
4.25. I'm gonna go 4. So that puts us at 4.33.
Repeating, of course.
Of course. So 4.25 is our untapped rating for that.
Okay, that sounds great. Let's tap it in.
Just tap it in.
Tap
it in. Go to your home.
Go to your home.
What's wrong with your home?
Doesn't have Guinness 200th anniversary export stout. That's why.
Sadly, I wish I had more exposure to this. I mean, since it's a limited release, we're only going to be able to get what's around, and it's going to be gone.
Yeah,
man,
it is pretty good. I like it.
I kind of wonder if I should like throw some in the closet and then wait and sell
might be
it
time.
3 years from now.
Might be time.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to pop away till you're dead 100 years from now. So
that's right. The kids can drink that.
Yeah.
No, AI will taking over the world. There'll be no beer. We'll be AI's pets. It'll be great.
We'll make great pets, but we'll just be the old timers drinking.
I can't wait.
Drinking Guinness on the block. Like
Perry was clairvoyant.
I'm still Guinness on the block.
That's right. Well, this is the old school Guinness right here. This is the OG Guinness.
Yeah, it's a good product.
I like it, man. And it's cool that they did it. I think it's actually, sometimes when they do these things, you're just like, oh, Jesus. It's like, we're going to throw butterscotch in with our Bud Light Lime. And you're like, don't. No one wants that. But
Does anyone make a butterscotch? That sounds good.
Somebody didn't. Yeah.
Somebody else made a limerita or lime beer now.
Yeah.
It's really embarrassing.
But instead of making that bullshit, you should just go back and get an old recipe. That's more interesting to me. Like, this is like,
Oh, we should try to homebrew recreate this.
We should. That'd be a good idea. I like it.
I should find out what hops are in it.
All right. I'm sure you can buy Guinness yeast, so we should definitely make that happen.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll make some of that export African shit. Like, make it Brad level at 8%.
Yeah, it would be fun to do.
Absolutely.
We were talking
man.
about doing I guess Beers and Birds, but beer episode with homebrewing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely do a beer session.
We'll do the chronicles of the
Absolutely.
beer
That'll
in
be coming
motion.
Because, the fans want to hear about our home brewing escapades. I'm sure a lot of them are home brewers as well. That's probably why you don't like to, Twitter us. That's fine because you're too busy messing with your home brews. We get it. We respect that.
They're working
we do.
schedules.
You got things going on with yourselves. But, if you get a chance, drop us on Twitter, man. We'd love to talk to you about this Guinness.
Respect.
Absolutely. All right, so that is Guinness.
Untapped is being whacked
200th anniversary export stout. That was our St. Patty's Day delight. So,
yeah, if you guys can run out and get it while someone
get it while
may
you
have
can.
it. Yeah, I mean it's when it's gone, it's gone.
I think they had 2 or 3 6-packs left down at the Hempfield Bev. So if you're lucky, they might still be there, but they're probably gone. They probably didn't make it through St. Patty's.
Regardless where you're listening this from, go to the Hempfield Bev.
That's right. Go there. Tell Sean we sent you. Try to grab some. All right.
Yes,
especially if you're in.
Take their advice. Drive from as far away as possible.
As far as possible.
There were 2 6-packs left.
It's a destination.
You can definitely have it.
We'll buy you a case if you come that far. Don't you worry. You come find us. We'll get you one. It's on us.
Good luck finding us.
Good luck.
Unless we're there. Well,
you never know.
We very well might be.
All right. Otherwise, if you're coming in, tell us on Twitter, man. We'll sort you out. All right. Till then, till the next beer session, our next bird session. I'm going to say cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
Let's clink it.
Clink it. Let's clap. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Beer Session is a Beers and Birds production. It'll be free beer tomorrow with a $5 charge for one.